Well, an arrest has been made in a case involving an employee that allegedly stole money from a business, and that case drew much local interest over the past couple of years. Now, according to a press release from the Bishop Police Department, Dolores K. Marsh was arrested on Thursday, February 5th. This came after an almost 2-year investigation. The press release states the Bishop Police Department arrested Dolores K. Marsh for a felony warrant. Now, that press release continues that, quote, Bishop Police Department investigated back in April of 2013 a complaint from Inyo Mono Body Shop where suspected funds had been stolen from the business. The investigation was handled within the Bishop Police Department and then turned over to the Office of the Attorney General of the state of California for further investigation into the missing funds. Now, as a result of the completed investigation, the press release states the Office of the Attorney General determined Dolores K. Marsh should be charged with stealing in excess of $300,000 from Inyo Mono Body Shop. An arrest warrant was issued by the Office of the Attorney General, and Bishop police officers acted on the warrant and arrested Marsh early Thursday morning. Marsh was transported to the Bishop Police Department where the bail was set at $50,000 for the felony warrant. The listed charges within the warrant were 5 counts of grand theft, 5 counts of forgery, altering entries in books and records. The press release states that Dolores K. Marsh posted bail and was released with a court date. Well, Deb Murphy filed this report for Sierra Wave Media. Tuesday's special meeting of the Northern Inyo Hospital Board meeting started calmly enough with a brief statement from the Nurses Union Organizing Committee spokesman and supportive comments from members of the medical staff. Now, when the board came out of closed session, Board President M.C. Hubbard explained that the meeting had been called so the board could learn what their role is will be in the newly formed union. The cards will be validated and nothing can be done until then. It will take about a month, said Hubbard, before any negotiations can begin. Now, the process involves the cards signed by registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and physician's assistants, vetted to confirm a majority support of the union, part of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Now, Deb Murphy writes that the fireworks didn't start until the board opened the floor for final comments. In response to questions from Dr. Jennifer Scott, administrators went on the defensive. Chief Executive Officer Victoria Alexander Lane and Chief Nursing Officer Kathy Decker both explained the steps they had taken to deal with financial issues and the caregivers' concerns, respectively. Now, blame for the communication disconnect between caregivers on the floor and administration appeared to be put on middle management. In response, Maura Richmond, a member of the organizing committee, said, quote, "We love our middle management. They're just stressed," end quote. Now, one of the issues referred to during the hour-long comment period was balancing nurse to patient ratios in the fluid dynamics of hospital care. Dr. Scott, an emergency room physician, explained the impact of pulling a nurse off ER duty to fill in elsewhere. A floor nurse described the stress of patient care when her shift was short a nurse's assistant. Now, Dr. Scott said, quote, "This is our reality. The best nurses in our hospital are on the organizing committee. We have come together. There's no you, no they, or middle management. I don't believe this is about money. It's about having a voice in patient care," end quote. Now, Scott's suggestion that the hospital, quote, "would be better served by a 360-degree review," end quote, was not taken well by Decker or Lane. Dr. Scott said, quote, "We need feedback from the bottom to the top as well as from the top down," end quote. M.C. Hubbard, the board president, said, quote, "We need to step back, take a breath, and respect each other," end quote. Then the meeting was ended. All right, let's move over to information regarding the Round Fire, that devastating blaze that started last Friday, destroyed 39 homes in Squaw Meadows, 1 in Paradise, and damaged 5 other structures. Now, many state agencies will be at the Crowley Lake Community Center through Sunday, offering assistance to those affected by the Round Fire. Representatives from the Department of Insurance, State Contractors License Board, Franchise Tax Board, the DMV, Board of Equalization, and Public Health Vital Records will be at the Crowley Lake Community Center starting Thursday and going through Sunday, February 15th from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Now we're getting information that Mono County will post more information as it becomes available on that great website, gis.mono.ca.gov, and you want to get to Round Fire. And there's also a link to the GoFundMe.com Round Fire Relief, and that fund has raised about $55,000, I should say, has been donated so far. Also, we're getting information that the American Red Cross available at the Crowley Lake Community Center and the Salvation Army continuing to be at the Tri-County Fairgrounds. Now, we're also getting information that the Mammoth Lakes Contractors Association is inviting members of the public affected by the Round Fire to its scheduled monthly meeting that is set for tomorrow, Thursday, February 12th at noon at Giovanni's. Press release states they're going to have a free lunch discussing how they can help families and individuals deal with the insurance companies and rebuilding process. And from the Mono County Health Department, it's advising ash and debris from burning buildings and homes can contain toxic substances due to the presence of synthetic and hazardous materials. It is important, the press release states, not to expose yourself, your family, or others to any of those materials. Exposures can occur by sifting through ash and debris, causing ash to become airborne and inhaled or ingested. Now, Mono County, the press release notes, is working to secure additional resources and funding from state agencies that will ensure proper handling and disposal of debris and ash from the fire. Now, in the meantime, property owners are strongly recommended to not begin cleanup activities in order to protect their health and the health of their neighbors. Now, the press release goes on to say that because ash and debris generated in the fire may be considered hazardous waste, local landfills and transfer stations are currently not permitted to accept this waste. Now, this restriction is in place to protect the health and anyone who may come into contact with the waste, including solid waste facility employees, solid waste haulers, and the public. Also from Stuart Brown of the town of Mammoth Lakes, he notes that during the fire, a large portion of Verizon's infrastructure was damaged, resulting in a loss of wireless and internet service to Mammoth Lakes. Now, the press release notes that thanks to the hardworking Verizon crews, cellular internet service was restored to both Bishop and Mammoth Lakes on February 9th. That Round Fire, 7,000 acres, was 98% contained as of this morning, and the cause is still under investigation. CAL FIRE reports that smoking debris may be seen on the western edge of the fire, but that does not pose a threat to residents. And California Broadband issued a press release touting the success of Digital 395 with regards to the Round and Van Dyke fires. Now, that press release states that in less than a year following its completion, the Digital 395 network continues to quietly demonstrate its extraordinary value to California's Eastern Sierra region. Now, in the midst of the recent fires in Mono County, the press release states that California Broadband Cooperative's fiber optic network worked uninterrupted to provide critical communications to first responders and other local officials struggling to contain the fires and bring order back to the area. Press release notes that while the winds and fires took down the overhead utility lines providing telephone, cellular, and power service to many parts of Mono County, the CBC network continued to provide an umbrella of communications to the area. As commercial power failed, Digital 395's UPS batteries and generators kicked into action to keep the 150 gigabits of data flowing. And since the network was installed underground to better protect it from fire and other elements, it provided much needed assurance to local officials and that they would remain in service. Now, on Sunday, after an all-night work session, Inyo Networks and Verizon crews completed the emergency connection. The Verizon Mammoth Lake Central office that fully restored telephone service to the Verizon customers affected by the outage. Now, that press release continues that since its commissioning late last year, the Digital 395 network has steadily elevated the, quote, digital landscape, end quote, of the Eastern Sierra, in addition to over over 200 schools, hospitals, and government buildings. CBC provides backbone internet service to local service providers like Inyo Networks, ShotNet, Suddenlink, and Lone Pine TV, whose services were all available during the outages. Now, there is much more on that press release posted on our website, sierrawave.net. We'll be back with more news.